Have you ever watched a sports game and...
Foul on red team!
What? I barely touched him!
Ball stays with blue team!
Are you serious?
Uh-huh!
the ref slows down the game for seemingly no good reason? Many people feel the same way about the government's role in the economy.
Do you have a permit to pass that ball, red team?
A permit?
And blue team, you need at least 7 forms to play.
Forms? What forms?
How much the government should be involved in the economy has been debated since America's founding. The Constitution intentionally limits federal power, as the founders believed local control and free enterprise protected against tyranny. But too little government can also lead to chaos, especially when major crises require a unified response.
Yo, ref!
Aha! So you do need us!
Let's look at the government's various roles in the economy and how those roles impact everyone, from local communities to the entire nation. First, the government is a buyer. From local towns to Washington, D.C., the government is a massive customer. It hires teachers, garbage men, firefighters, even lifeguards at public beaches. It also buys everything from printer paper to military helicopters. When a natural disaster like a hurricane hits, the government often buys emergency supplies, water, food, rescue equipment, and pays thousands of workers to help those affected. That money is intended to keep businesses running and people working, even when times are tough. Second, the government is a supplier. If you've ever driven on a highway, used a public park, or called the police for help, you've benefited from the government acting as a supplier. There are many goods we all use that are not profitable for private companies to provide, like roads, sewer systems, or law enforcement. But whether buying or supplying, the government has to get that money from somewhere, and that somewhere is you and everyone else through taxes. On top of that, the government is not efficient. Unlike private businesses, government agencies don't face any competition or risk going out of business, so they have little incentive to spend wisely. As a result, projects are often over budget, delayed, or poorly managed. Third, the government is a monetary body. This means it influences the flow of money in the economy. For example, the government sends Social Security payments to retired people and gives unemployment benefits to those who've lost their jobs. The government borrows money to fund social programs like these, attempting to help people pay their bills and buy what they need, pumping cash into the economy. But there's a trade-off. The more money the government borrows, the less money there is for private businesses to borrow. This is called the crowding out effect. It's like when someone hogs all the space and equipment in a gym, leaving nothing for others to use.
No! No! Mine! Mine! Ha-ha!
The government also pressures the Federal Reserve, whose policies manipulate the money supply. The most familiar policy is changing interest rates, which eventually determine how much extra money you must pay when borrowing for purchases like a car. Higher interest rates discourage borrowing, while lower interest rates stimulate it. The amount of borrowing is directly tied to the amount of spending in an economy. Lastly, the government is a regulator. Government regulation is like the rule book for the economy. It sets safety standards, tax laws, business guidelines, and more. For example, the USDA inspects meat and produce to ensure they're safe to eat before hitting store shelves. These rules are intended to protect workers, consumers, and the public. But the more rules, the messier it gets for the economy. Businesses must fill out tons of paperwork and pay lawyers just to operate. That can slow hiring, drive up prices, and even push businesses to relocate to states or countries with fewer regulations.
See you later.
Too much red tape stifles growth and limits consumer options. Without government involvement, private companies or individuals can step in to offer many of these goods and services. In fact, historically, many did so before the government ever got involved. Because private businesses face competition and operate for profit, they often produce faster, cheaper, and more efficiently than government agencies. It's always a balancing act, but the economy runs smoother when the government steps back. The government will always impact the economy around you. sometimes for better and other times for worse, much worse. But either way, it's important to understand how the government functions as a buyer, supplier, monetary body, and regulator. Knowing these roles helps you see what government should be doing and where it's doing too much. When you understand how these actions impact your life, you can make wiser choices, not just in what you buy, but in the policies you support and the freedoms you protect.
Okay, I'll cut it down to 3 forms and a 30-day waiting period.
Game on. Hello? Hello?
Watch more at PragerUkids.com. And parents, don't forget to subscribe.